It all started when Angel Reese made her debut on the Victoria's Secret runway earlier this year, walking with the confidence of a champion. Cameras flashed, fans screamed, and she strutted like she was living her dream. But beneath the glitz and glamour, reality painted a very different picture. She hadn't won anything significant since her LSU days, and her Chicago Sky team ended the previous season near the bottom of the standings. Even worse, she mysteriously sat out the last few games, citing a questionable wrist injury that fans and analysts now suspect might have been more about image than injury. In 2025, as other players grind through intense training camps, Angel seems more focused on podcasts, brand deals, and social media aesthetics. Her Instagram looks like a high-end fashion magazine, designer shoots, vacations, and sponsored posts, yet barely a glimpse of basketball. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, despite being sidelined with a legitimate ankle injury this January, is still putting in the work. She's been spotted at the Indiana Fever facility doing modified workouts, film sessions, and strategy meetings with her coaches. While Angel's feed showcases wax appointments and wardrobe reveals, Caitlin shows sweat, tape, and determination. One viral clip showed her rehabbing with a single-leg shooting drill, drenched in sweat but laser-focused, hitting shot after shot. Fans couldn't help but compare. One's working to come back stronger, the other's working on her next photo shoot, one comment read. Then came the moment that flipped public opinion for good. Angel posted a TikTok teasing her waxing appointment outline, then, days later, made a public plea to stop being sexualized by fans. The internet didn't hesitate to call out the contradiction. "You can't post thirst traps on Monday and cry victim on Tuesday," a viral comment said, summing up the collective frustration. The disconnect between her message and her image had finally become impossible to ignore. Even Sue Bird, a four-time WNBA champion and arguably the most respected voice in women's basketball, seemed to have reached her limit. Without naming names, she delivered a quiet but devastating reality check in an ESPN interview. "Keep basketball the main thing," Bird said, "because that's your vehicle to everything else." She drew comparisons to LeBron James, how despite his billion-dollar empire, his work ethic has never wavered. The subtext couldn't have been clearer. Focus on the game that gave you everything, or lose it all chasing the noise. Bird's timing was no coincidence. Days before, Angel had taken to her new podcast, a show she started as a second-year player, to complain about low WNBA salaries while flashing luxury handbags and designer fits worth more than most players' paychecks. She lamented how hard it was to make ends meet, then posted videos from an extravagant Turks and Caicos vacation. The optics were disastrous. Veteran players were furious. One anonymous player told reporters, "We fought for years for respect, for better pay, and now we have rookies acting like influencers instead of athletes. It undermines everything we've built." Shaquille O'Neal, who had mentored Angel since her LSU days, also chimed in during a TNT broadcast. Without sugarcoating, Shaq said that talent without discipline is a recipe for obscurity. He warned that flashy players who forget their fundamentals often end up forgotten. Coming from someone who built an empire after years of dominance, that hit hard. Shaq essentially told her to stop chasing relevance and start chasing greatness again. The numbers back it up. Angel's shooting percentage nosedived late last season. Her off-season videos looked more like music video sets than workouts. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's numbers improved across the board before her injury. Higher shooting percentages, better assist-to-turnover ratios, and increased leadership presence on and off the court. The difference in mentality is night and day. Caitlin's hunger for greatness is undeniable. Angel's hunger for attention, equally undeniable. Then Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports unloaded on Reese, calling her out for what he called performative professionalism. "You're a rookie who had a mediocre season, your team was awful, you bailed on them with a sketchy injury, and now you're everywhere except the gym," he said. The clip went viral, racking up millions of views. Fans flooded the comments, echoing the sentiment that Angel talks more than she trains. Even casual observers began to see the pattern. Lots of noise, little substance. To make matters worse, Teresa Weatherspoon, Angel's former coach who was fired after one season, liked several posts criticizing players who prioritize fame over fundamentals. Sources close to the Chicago Sky confirmed long-standing tension about Angel's attitude and lack of focus. Reports surfaced that she frequently arrived late to practices, often distracted by her phone, coordinating social media content while her teammates studied plays. During training camp scrimmages, she reportedly requested multiple breaks, struggling to keep up with the team's conditioning pace. One teammate anonymously told reporters, "This is supposed to be professional basketball, not an influencer boot camp. It's embarrassing." The brand fallout followed quickly. Companies that had been lining up to sign Angel began quietly pulling back after the negative headlines. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's endorsement portfolio expanded. A Fortune 500 company cited her discipline, humility, and consistency as the main reasons for their partnership. The contrast became symbolic of two completely different approaches to fame, one authentic, one artificial. Even legends couldn't ignore the decline. Diana Taurasi bluntly said some young players act like they've already earned something they haven't. Aya Wilson tweeted, "Real ones move in silence," a line fans interpreted as a direct jab at Angel. The respect that Angel once commanded had evaporated, replaced by skepticism and eye rolls. Then came Charles Barkley, never one to hold back. On Inside the NBA, he summed up the situation with surgical precision. "You ain't done nothing yet, and you're acting like you're already in the Hall of Fame." His words stung not just because they were harsh, but because they were true. Barkley's comments marked the moment when Angel Reese went from controversial to cautionary. Even the league itself has started to notice. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert recently warned that the growth of the WNBA depends on players who prioritize excellence and professionalism. Though she didn't mention names, the implication was clear. Behind closed doors, executives worry that Reese's behavior could damage the league's credibility at a time when it's finally starting to gain mainstream traction. Internationally, the ripple effects have been just as severe. European scouts who once considered Angel for overseas contracts have now dropped her from their lists, citing professional concerns. In contrast, Caitlin Clark, despite her injury, continues to receive offers from top European clubs. Proof that authenticity and work ethic still sell more than social media stunts. The narrative shift is undeniable. Caitlin Clark, even while hurt, has become the embodiment of everything right about professional sports: discipline, humility, and relentless dedication. Angel Reese, on the other hand, has become the warning sign of what happens when an athlete starts believing their own hype too soon. The public has made up its mind. The Bayou Barbie, once America's sweetheart of women's basketball, is now the poster child for wasted potential. The real tragedy is that Angel still has time to turn it around, if she's willing to humble herself. History is full of athletes who rediscovered their purpose after losing their way. But time in sports is unforgiving, and every season spent chasing cameras instead of championships brings her closer to irrelevance. So now the question remains: can Angel Reese rewrite her story, or has she already blown her shot at greatness? Has the spotlight become brighter than the game itself? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you believe that hard work and focus still matter more than fame and filters, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more exclusive WNBA stories and behind-the-scenes drama. Trust me, this season's firestorm is just getting started.